Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
We're in Way Media. Welcome back, Midnight viewers, to Father Malone's Weekly Roundup. I'm Father Malone, and with me, as always, is the rage-filled former slave, Ripley Jean. I know you're not rage-filled, although every time someone comes to the door, you're not exactly calm. All right, let's get to it. Everyone loves Gladiator. Everyone but me. Look, I took Latin. I studied the classics with a lean towards the Roman authors. For me, the Greeks were always a bit too lofty. So my problems with the original Gladiator are two. One is a quibble and stems from my teenage obsession with historical and historically accurate events in ancient Rome, and we'll get back to that because it comes up again in the sequel. But the other is one that I can't get past anymore. It's a problem I have with most gritty action films. They're all predicated on the crusading widower. They killed his wife. That was their first mistake. Good Lord. This is the only thing that can drive you? I mean, it's supposed to be a quest based on love, but really it's just a convenient excuse for slaking bloodlust. Let me ask you a question. What in the Gladiator plot would change if Maximus's family just didn't exist? As if they hadn't written them at all. Maximus is a bachelor. What would change in that plot? Nothing. He'd still be wronged by the nation he defended. Is that not worthy of vengeance? Is it not good enough because it's a personal vendetta? They got to kill the wife as well? 2 weeks ago, we had Road to Perdition. There's another crusading widower. Death Wish, The Punisher, Mad Max, Braveheart, The Patriot. Jesus Christ, Mel Gibson has a whole cottage industry of crusading widowers. And you know what? That last film, The Patriot, I found that one to be particularly distasteful. Boiling down the American Revolution as a tale of revenge against the English? Good God. Kill Bill, crusading widow. John Wick, I know it's a dog, but the wife gave him the dog, and she's dead, so that dog was the wife, crusading widower. Besides, he got another dog. The Crow, we did a whole roundup about all of its various crusading iterations. I know it's in no way a new genre. In fact, revenge films are their own subset, and they can be great. It's just that it's the 21st century now, and maybe we can realize it's a disservice to the character that that's their only motivation. Or really, it's a disservice to the spouse, reducing them to nothing but a goal. But that is not the overriding problem with Gladiator 2.
I remember that day. I never forgot it. That a slave could take revenge against an emperor.
Where were you born?
I don't know. I never knew a mother nor a father.
You will be my instrument.
Who are you?
Did you hear that crowd? The greatest temple Rome ever built. The Colosseum. Because this is what they believe in. Power.
General Acacius, there are victories yet still to come.
Rome has so many subjects, she must feed them.
They can eat war!
The arena turns slaves into gladiators, then gladiators into free men.
You have something in you. I knew it from the start.
Did you now?
Rage. That rage is your gift.
This is about survival! Survive! Hold together, and when it charges, break for the wall.
Whose head could I give you that would satisfy this fury?
The entire Roman armies.
Too much?
The general will do.
Rome must fall. I need to only give it a push.
We make it out alive. Alright. Hands on the mausoleum floor. Blood stains the Colosseum doors.
This ring belonged to Maximus. Now I give it to you. What is the dream of Rome? That people are not free.
I was owned. Now I will control an empire.
I will not waste another generation of young men for their vanity.
Strength and honor! This how Rome treats its heroes!
Hands on the mausoleum floor. Blood stains the Colosseum doors.
The gods have spoken!
You know how some sequels take such a left turn from the original that they stand alone as their own piece? Like Aliens or Gremlins 2? Just a total unwillingness on the part of the filmmakers to repeat themselves. Well, that ain't Gladiator 2. Oh, no. This is Escape from L.A. to Gladiator's Escape from New York. Not that I'm comparing Escape from New York to Gladiator. There is no comparison there. Whatever misgivings I have about Gladiator, it is great spectacle, particularly seeing the Colosseum so well realized. It's breathtaking, and there are some great performances. Russ LaRock at his most fierce. You know Russell Crowe's pre-movie star alter ego Russ LaRock, pop sensation, don't you? Here he is.
People say I'm crazy, but I don't know. Just wanna be like Marlon Brando.
Well, he's fucking great as Maximus. And it had Oliver Reed in his final performance. I'm a sucker for Oliver Reed. I now know that all of those great old hard-drinking English thespians were probably more insufferable alcoholics and less the bad boys breaking all the rules, but Oliver Reed seemed the only one fully committed to it, and his performances are just heart-stopping. I love you, Oliver Reed. I wouldn't want to be in a room with you. I certainly don't want to see the Eagles' talons. You're too young, I can't tell you. This is a family show. Fuck yeah, it is. There are some differences between Gladiator and Gladiator 2, like Maximus never had to fight a bunch of cartoon primates. I don't want to give a blanket statement like the CGI is shit, because there are individual shots that are just gorgeous, photorealistic even, but the rest of them are infuriating. This movie cost $250 million in 2024, when all the giants, the major studios, are foundering. They're going all in with this. I'm not rooting against the movie. Don't get me wrong. Hollywood needs every helping hand. But this, $250 million? Can we all admit that Ridley Scott made about 5 good movies? They're all visual works of art, no doubt. But we've got Alien, Blade Runner, I'd Go to the Mat for Legend, Thelma and Louise, maybe Black Hawk Down. That's it. And he continues the trend here. Gladiator started off with a battle in the forest. Well, this one starts with a naval battle. And instead of a Roman general as our hero, he's the villain. Our hero is one of the defenders of Numidia on the African coast. So we're going to have an African hero this time. Nope, white savior trope is in effect. God, the tropes are piling up here. Just like Dances with Wolves, and Avatar, and hell, Billy Jack. When the big bad empire comes calling, they have to find one of their own defiant. Also, they killed his wife. This time with arrows. Watch out, Rome. Watch out, Reed Richards. That's right, Mando Man Pedro Pascal is the evil general, but wait a minute. He's actually a pretty good guy. He's only following orders. That excuse lets him off the hook for decimating sovereign nations. Plus, we love Pedro Pascal. He can't be bad. Once again, the villain is the Emperor, or Emperors. We spend too much time in the Senate here. So, big battle, dead wife, slavery, forced to fight in an exhibition, bought by a gladiator trader and political wheeler-dealer, fights his way to fame, revenge. Sound fucking familiar? A quarter century later and $250 million, and this is what we're given. This is what we've been waiting for. But it has naval battles. In the Colosseum, yes. I know they actually happened, and it was cool to see them reenacted here for a few minutes. Then the sharks showed up. The sharks? Somehow caught in the wild and held in captivity and transported and kept in an enclosure that allowed them a free range of motion so they wouldn't just drown. The sharks. The main problem here is the main problem with both films. We gotta bring down the Emperor. None of these fictional characters ever brought down the Emperor of Rome. Why does it have to be that? Again, it can't be the hero just fighting for himself or some potential positive goal for others. Gotta be revenge. And then, coincidentally, his actions destroy a corrupt empire, freeing all. That's how the first film ended. And now, it's 25 years later, and Rome is worse than before. Which is a problem for all legacy sequels. They obliterate the accomplishments of the first film. They could address that here in Gladiator 2, but instead they ignore it so they can have the same goddamn plot contrivances. And here's the thing, that taking down the whole system trope is the equivalent of the big blue light in the sky of all superhero movies. Yes, we have a tangible villain, but we gotta close that portal. We gotta shut down that machine or we'll all be killed. This film does have one advantage over the first, Denzel. He's fucking great here. Anytime you put him in a period piece or a historical drama, comedy, whatever, he's gonna elevate it. He is so fucking charming here. And just locked into what the movie wanted to be, a political potboiler. He's way more fearsome than any dude riding a cartoon rhinoceros. That happens in this movie. A man rides a rhinoceros. And it's a cartoon. Anyway, this was shot digitally, so could somebody lift Denzel out of Gladiator 2 and insert him into the original? I think it can be done. And I think it'll solve my problems with that movie, because you're not bringing down Rome with a sword. You're doing it through manipulating corruption, and Denzel's character could have facilitated that there, and I totally would have bought it. Nothing's going to stop anyone from seeing this movie, and I'm not trying to stop you either. I'm saying go see all the movies, all of them. Pauly Shore putting out a new movie? Go see it. We got to save cinema. Zaslav killed its wife, and now nothing will stop it from getting revenge. As an aside, if you're of Italian descent and you have tattoos and one of them is an SPQR, what's wrong with you? If Ireland had been the center of civilization at some point, or had a marker or a slogan declaring everything theirs, do you not think that symbol or phrase would be on my body right now? Anyway, if you've got a Jones for Rome, a need for ancient Italian drama, you can see some pretty fucking historically accurate ancient Rome in the series Rome. That was back on HBO and ran for 2 seasons, and it was co-created by John fucking Milius, the writer of Apocalypse Now and director of Conan the Barbarian, and it is peopled with an amazing cast of mostly British actors. If I, Claudius, taught us anything, Rome makes more sense as an empire with Shakespearean-trained actors. That's a scientific fact. Okay, we're moving on. But what if you love sword-swinging actioners but don't love columns? Maybe you're sick of tunics, and you don't have time for the dead wife trope. Hit it, HP.
Come and listen to a dog that's hip. Here we go, it's Riff Picks, yeah!
Thank you, HP. David Letterman phrase here. Oh my goodness, Ripley. This, what a hell of a pick. Maybe you saw this back in the day and forgot about it. More likely you've never seen it at all. I have a soft spot in my heart for this film. From 1999, this is The 13th Warrior.
I am Ahmed Ibn Fahlan. I met a beautiful woman who belonged to another man. I was banished from my home and from all that I knew. A country far to the north.
He comes to ask Bulvar for help. His father's kingdom is under attack. She says 13 men must go.
Jeg ved det første.
He says the 13th man must be no man's man. The 13th warrior is you. I am not a warrior. Very soon, you will be.
They are demons.
Teeth like a lion, head like a bear.
It is said they eat the dead.
I saw the glowworm though. My father's father always warned of it. Said it was a hate of all times.
Prepare yourselves.
Lo, there do I see my father. Lo, there do I see my mother, my sisters, and my brothers. In the halls of Valhalla,
where the brave, they live.
Remember my pretentious classical education? Well, that included a heaping helping of Beowulf, the epic poem. I believe that it was Francis Baron Gumer's edition that I read. That was his translation. It wouldn't get a proper lyrical translation until 1999. That's when Seamus Heaney did a more poetical version of it. There was a modern-day sequel written called Grendel from the monster's perspective. There was that god-awful Robert Zemeckis Uncanny Valley Fest Beowulf, which actually had a really good script by Roger Avery and Neil Gaiman. Unfortunately, the film was a waxwork nightmare. So anyway, I was devouring all the Beowulf I could find when I happened upon a novel called Eaters of the Dead by Michael Crichton. Jurassic Park, Westworld, E.R. Michael Crichton. The book was from 1976 and was inspired, if that's the right word, by a fellow professor who had lumped Beowulf into what he called the bores of literature. Determined to prove that guy wrong, Crichton decided to show that Beowulf was indeed exciting. So then, being Michael Crichton, he conceived of a theme park with Nordic warriors. No, I'm kidding, but it would track. Actually, he took the story of Ahmad ibn Fadlan, a real person who was an ambassador for the Caliph of Baghdad and was sent north to live with Vikings in like 975 AD. He then combined that with the Beowulf legend, and it's a weird mashup that works, at least for me, like gangbusters. 20 years later, we got a name change and John McTiernan behind the camera, and it's The 13th Warrior. Spanish actor Antonio Banderas plays Ahmad ibn Fadlan with some backup coming from Omar fucking Sharif. In the book and the film, Fadlan is taken in by a band of Vikings as they are called to help King Hrothgar defend his hall against supernatural creatures known as the Vendel. It ends up being a bit Scooby-Doo. Now let's see who the real Vendel is. And there are some laughable moments from the screenplay, but overall, this is how you do a gritty action sword and blood and hacking and slashing, man. It's John Die-Hard Predator McTiernan orchestrating muddy chaos amongst the Vikings, with gorgeous Antonio Banderas fighting beside them. Everyone's loving the Vikings these days, right? Well, you can binge hours and hours and hours of them. Well, give this film 90 minutes. It's 102 minutes, but if you haven't dug the first 90, you can tap out then. I won't tap out. I love this film. Oh, come on. It's worth ribbing. When Antonio and Banderas announces how he learned their language.
Where did you learn our language? I listened.
Oof. All right, 13th Warrior. I'm not going to say anything else about it. I want you to see it if you haven't seen it. We are moving on. And it's going to be a bit of a downer, but it's going to end kind of joyously, so fair warning. My late wife, Jessica, was a fucking marvel in everything she did. Just a whirlwind of creativity and productivity. For her 50th birthday, we planned a huge surprise event for her. And by we, I mean Jessica. She planned and organized and executed the whole thing. I helped, but it was all her. which is exactly how she wanted it. Prior to the festivities, she sent out questionnaires asking all of the guests their likes and dislikes so she could personalize it to their taste. If your favorite dessert was pecan pie, you were getting pecan pie at the end of the evening. She also had questions about songs that might sum you up, songs that might make appropriate entrance music. I didn't think much of it. I don't think anyone else did. But when everyone arrived that night, there was a step and repeat that they had to walk with a photographer snapping photos, and every single person had their own personal anthem playing. Here was mine.
I'm the master of your destiny. I am the one, the only one. I am the god of kingdom come. Give me the prize. Just give me the prize.
That's Gimme the Prize, the Kurgan's theme, and it's Queen, and the movie is Highlander.
From another time comes a man of great power.
Talk funny, Nash. Where are you from?
Lots of different places. A warrior of incredible strength.
You've the devil in you. We've been kinsmen 20 years.
Connor MacLeod was my kinsman. I don't know who you are.
Because you were born different, men will fear you, try to drive you away.
A man uncertain of his future.
What you got here, Brenda, is a guy who's been creeping around since at least 1700.
It's not possible.
And haunted by his past.
Wait a minute, Nash. I want some answers.
You cannot die, MacLeod.
I am Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. I was born in 1518 in the village of Glenfinnan on the shores of Loch Shiel. Now I am immortal.
A hero who is about to face his greatest challenge.
You will always be weaker than I.
What can you tell me about a 7-foot lunatic hacking away with a broadsword at 1 o'clock in the morning, New York City, 1985?
Not much.
For he is not alone.
In the end, there can be only one.
Highlander, there can be only one.
And here we are, we're the princes of the universe. Here we belong, fighting for survival. We've come to be the rulers of the world.
We're going to talk a lot about the Kurgan here, but first we got to talk about Connor MacLeod of Clan MacLeod from the 1500s in the Highlands of Scotland. Highlands of Scotland, thus he's a Highlander. It's funny because the word just kind of means immortal now, like they're all Highlanders. I guess the every vampire can be called a Dracula rule is in effect here. Before we go further, this is time sensitive. Stop what you're doing and go to the Wikipedia page for Highlander and read the synopsis. Someone has a vivid and hilarious imagination, and the gatekeepers haven't caught it yet, but that's not going to last, so get over there and read it immediately. And no, it wasn't me. Or was it? Anyway, you know the story. Connor is an immortal, one of many that dot the globe. They all feel a pull toward one another, and the more ruthless among them are lopping off their heads and absorbing their life forces, growing stronger. Connor, the Scottish Highlander, is played by Christophe Lambert, a French actor who was born in New York and raised in Switzerland. His character is aided by Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez, who is actually Egyptian, and played by Scottish actor Sean Connery. We just had Antonio Banderas playing Iranian, so we're going to give the 1986 casting people a pass here. Plus, it's Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery. They're both great. Lambert's weirdo amalgamation of accents somehow actually works for an immortal who's lived dozens of lives in dozens of locales around the globe. It's kind of like that language Edward James Olmos comes up with for Gaff in Blade Runner. One of only 5 good Ridley Scott movies. So they have to stop the Kurgan. He's the villain, and what a fucking villain. You heard the song, and you know the actor, the fucking amazing Clancy Brown. Has he ever been bad? No. Has any film he's been in become instantly elevated? Fuck yes. You loved him in Starship Troopers, you love him in Shawshank, and he's a dick in that. He's the best Lex Luthor ever. Sorry, Michael Rosenbaum. He was Surtur, the god who destroyed Asgard in Thor Ragnarok. The man is Mr. Krabs on SpongeBob SquarePants. He was a major member of the Hong Kong Cavaliers. That's Buckaroo Banzai's group of crusading rock and rollers. He was Lyndon Johnson on The Crown. And most recently, and fucking amazingly, he was Salvatore Falcone on that Penguin television series. Here, as the Kurgan, he absolutely terrifies, while simultaneously giving us one of the most delicious villains ever. Speaking of Rome, if you ever read the novelization, you'll know that the Kurgan was a happy participant of the sacking of Rome while he was running around with the Visigoths and the Vandals. I want to be a cowboy. Different Vandals, but in the same ballpark, because the modern Kurgan, the 1986 version, chooses a total punk rock persona complete with safety pins through the scar in his neck, and it is amazing. Though not the original intention of the character. As originally written, the Kurgan would be a total dandy. Bowler hat, bespoke suit. That would have been interesting, particularly on Clancy Brown. Not that I don't fucking love what we got. Quick side note, back in 1994, I was at a convention at the Shrine in Los Angeles, and I actually bumped into Clancy Brown. It took me a second to recognize him, and he was very polite because he was actually the one that bumped into me, but I was honestly crestfallen. Not because it wasn't a thrill to meet him, it was. I actually cherished the memory, but it turns out he and I are the exact same height, and he was a giant in my mind. Further, I actually think I had a weight advantage at that time in my life, so I came away thinking, I could take the Kurgan. The prize is rightfully mine. Gregory Wyden, former firefighter, writes Highlander as his thesis screenplay in film school. The original is way more ranging and got way more mythology in it. Connor fathers many children over the years, and there's a whole bunch of unneeded detours. But it's a thesis script. It gets snapped up and handed over to Larry Ferguson and Peter Bellwood, who pare it down and admittedly give us the masterpiece we have now, although they're only one small part of it. Having read both drafts, let's say Bellwood and Ferguson had a hell of a blueprint to work from, because left to their own devices, they made Highlander 2. Although Larry Ferguson, to his credit, would pen the fucking horrible remake of Rollerball and Alien 3 and Beyond the Law. That's that biker movie with Michael Madsen and Charlie Sheen, which is one of the few films I feel totally comfortable watching ironically. By comparison, Gregory Wyden wrote Backdraft and The Prophecy. Russell Mulcahy's behind the camera here. He was a video music maker extraordinaire, and it's fully on display. Critics at the time complained that it was style over substance. Fuck you. It's style and substance. If you're going to tell the tale of sword-fighting immortals in modern-day New York, I want a crazy crane shot across Madison Square Garden as the fabulous Freebirds battle the High Flyers and the Tonga Kid while a Queen soundtrack blares. That's right, the Queen soundtrack. It is fucking killer. There are some band-composed soundtracks out there that are just perfect. Harold and Maude, The Graduate, Queen again for Flash. How about that Toto score for Dune? Anyway, this is all original stuff from Queen, each member of the band contributing a tune set against a moment of the film that resonated with them. So not only do we get Princes of the Universe to open the flick and give me the prize, but the amazing Who Wants to Live Forever by Brian May. That was featured pretty prominently in that fucking awful Freddie Mercury biopic. But best of all, and a song I come to over and over and over again. Because if you've ever known true love, like I did, particularly the night of the party that I mentioned, 1 Year of Love by bassist John Deacon is lovely and lush and oh so true. Just like Jess.
Just 1 year of love is better than a lifetime alone. One sentimental moment in your arms is like a shooting star right through my heart.
What? I know I said we'd end happily, but here we are. It is happy. These are great movies. Well, it's a great movie, and a pretty good movie, and a terrible movie. That's what we've covered this week. And that is going to wrap us up for the week, folks. I want to thank you for joining us. Make sure you tune in this Thursday. Maybe it'll be Friday. It's my show. I'll release them whenever I goddamn want. That'll be the next Anthologies Attack. Antonio Lepore is back, and we're going to be talking the Allison Anders, Alexander Rockwell, Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino comedy. Is it a comedy? Is it funny? Tune in and find out. We're talking 4 Rooms. It's actually going to be a pretty stupendous occasion. That will be Midnight Viewing's 100th episode. HP, composer of our Rips Picks theme, is our band leader, and you can hear all of his work over at Bandcamp, and check out his show, Night Mr. Walters, a taxi podcast. There are links in the description. Also, there you'll find a link to our Patreon channel, patreon.com/Father Malone. Subscribe, and you'll get episodes early and commercial-free. And speaking of HP, he and I are starting up a Patreon-exclusive show, which we'll talk about in a later episode. For the lovely Miss Ripley Jean, I'm Father Malone, and we'll leave you with a little bit from Highlander. Oh, by the way, Connor McLeod does not count as a crusading widower. His wife dies of old age. It's way more tragic.
What do you want?
Your head. And the prize. Watch. Happy Halloween, ladies. Nuns. No sense of humor.
Move over! I said move over! Hey, hey, hey! Clear the way! There's no escape from my authority! Didn't I tell you? I am the one, the only one. I am the God of Kingdom Come. Give me the prize! Just give me the prize! I am the one, the only one. I am the God of Kingdom Come. So give me the prize!
There can be only one.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.